As collection agents, on a daily basis, you deal with so many excuses from debtors from all walks of life. And it's our job to figure out whether they're being honest or dishonest. So welcome to the course on dealing with debtor excuses. We are dealing with module number 3. And we welcome you on this journey and hope you like it and give us feedback. My name is CraigANel and I'm with a company called ICANN. The ICANN Dealing with Debtor Excuses course comprises of 10 modules, and as I've mentioned earlier, we will today deal with administration order. And now you know that we love our quotations at ICANN. Our favorite one is, without knowledge, action is useless, and knowledge without action is futile. And this is the key thing about all our training modules, is that we hope that you'd apply it in a daily basis in your contact center environment, or whether you're engaging with the data via email or social media. But it has to be practical, it has to be implementable on a daily basis. So knowledge without action is futile. Always remember that. It's another interesting quotation. Debt is an ingenious substitute for the chain and whip of the slave driver. This is by Will Rogers. Debt is part of our society, part of the world economy, and most debtors, we hope, we believe, or account holders, or in fact customers, take out debt to buy significantly large appliances or homes or vehicles, and often the goal is not to default at any point. And what we're going to cover in the module today is one of the tools available in South Africa for people that have a certain value of debt, and to see what options are available to them. Most importantly, it is how we deal with it as collection agents, how we respond, and at what point we determine whether they're bluffing us or not. So let's talk through the learning outcomes for this module. Understanding the administration order, who can apply, and what the application procedures are, and how to cancel that admin order. How to deal with a debtor who has an administration order as an excuse. And this is what we've mentioned just earlier. That's how to deal with this excuse. By no means it'll be obvious in the conversation that they are dishonest, but as a smart agent, it is important that you start asking questions, continuously asking questions. In so doing, they will learn that you understand the process that very well, and they perhaps need to consider whether they should continue bluffing or not. And most importantly, we want to help you to be better prepared to deal with this excuse. So the first question is, what is an administration order? Well, first of all, the process takes place in the magistrate's court, and the outcome is that the individual's or debtor's estate will be placed under an administration order. An administrator gets appointed at some point to manage the financial affairs, to pay the creditors. If a debtor is married in community, well, the entire estate of him and the spouse of the married party will be under administration. The administrator is a person that's appointed by a magistrate, and they will be responsible for collecting and distributing the payments until the debt is eventually settled. Next, we'll discuss how an application for administration order is made. First of all, there's a ceiling in terms of the total value of the debt. So it's 50,000 Rand, and I think you have to be cognizant of that. The application, as we mentioned, is by the magistrate court. There's a prescribed form. It has to be accompanied with an affidavit and also some financial statements. So it's quite hectic and quite involved. So when you are dealing with a debtor that says they're going through the administration order process, we suggest you ask them where are they at the point of the conversation you're having with the debtor. They'll begin with a date to appear in court, and yes, once and through that process, all the creditors will be notified, and that there's an application hearing, and the creditors are most welcome to attend that hearing. They may even protest or might even object against the application. So yes, it's quite an involved process, and for someone to raise this as an excuse, they should be quite comfortable in answering any of your questions regarding what stage they may be in the application. The fact that a debtor is applying does not necessarily mean the application will be approved, and that's why it's incumbent on you to ask what phase they're in, what stage they may be in, and if they've received a court order to that effect. If not, there's still a strong possibility that might be rejected. And as I've mentioned earlier on, many of the credit providers, if not all, will be invited to attend, so they might even object to the application. So what happens if the court order is granted, or the court grants the administration order? An administrator will be appointed, and they would have to notify all the creditors that the order has been granted. They'll obviously, there's the standard forms where they kind of gather all the information containing the debt that's owed, and essentially they would then also distribute the finances as they receive it. It's also something important to note that even the employer of the person applying is also notified. In some instances, there might be a garnishee audit. Now, for some of you will remember those many years, also known as an emolument attachment order. That could also be part of the process. It's not free. An administrative order can cost up to 12.5% of the payments made on a monthly basis, so it's quite expensive. An employer, if they are also given an order, may even deduct a management fee for obviously processing the payment or deducting it from their salary. Also important to note, admin orders does not stop interest from running on an outstanding debt. So it's quite interesting to see the contrast between debt review and admin orders, and you guys should know by now that there's quite a correlation between the two processes. A lot of the debt review procedures is based on this procedure. Administration orders can be cancelled if there's good cause, and this has to be demonstrated to the courts. So example of good cause could include change in financial circumstances, so the person might have a better job, promoted, or whatever the case would be. These orders can be rescinded when all the debts under administration have been paid. So there is a way out for the debtor, but we must note that historically the repayment amounts are significantly low, and it can take people under admin order quite a long time for the debt to be settled. We have already touched on this earlier on, so I think the important thing is when the debt is paid in full, the clearance certificate is going to be very important. That needs to be distributed, and then also the application that the admin order needs to be cancelled or rescinded. Very important. Consumers beware. Admin orders can reflect up to 10 years on a debtor's credit report. So it's far-reaching negative impact on them. So if you are in the position to advise debtors, make sure you mention this important factor. To all the viewers out there, we always talk about agent preparation, and we love this quote by Abraham Lincoln: "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." And that's what we hope to do at ICANN. We've mentioned earlier on an earlier quote about knowledge and not applying the knowledge, but preparation is important. And the fact that you're going through this course, it is essential that you become familiar with the terminology, understand how to deal with the consumer objectives, and spend a lot of time in it, as well as do role plays. And role plays in our world is sharpening your axe. The more you do the role plays, the less time you'll need to overcome the objections. Guys, considering how robust the process is, there's I would say limited likelihood that any one of our clients, if they are credit providers, would hand over accounts to us. If we're working for a credit provider or lender, once our admin departments have received these applications, or our legal departments, it's highly unlikely once it's granted that it be given to the collections department. Also bearing in mind they might be in the process of applying, and remember earlier on, it doesn't mean that the order was granted. So it's always essential to ask them. And remember, we said being a smart agent is asking questions, understanding where they are. Do not accept the excuses at face value. Next, we'll give you some tips. And I think the important part that's consistent with our training is always assume that they are honest, be empathetic, yet be firm in your approach and tone. On the final slide, we give you a few tips that we believe you need to apply on a daily basis. And as we've mentioned earlier on, role plays is a very, very important tool for you to sharpen that edge, as it will sharpen your axe, so that you can spend less time battling with it on the excuses that they may bring up in your call. So if you look at the first question, thanking them that they've shared that they're applying for the process, and then asking when was it applied for, has the court order been granted, what is the name of your administrator, if it's a credit provider, did the collections department contact you? Obviously you know that's unlikely to happen, but I think it's important to inform them they still may be liable until that court order is granted. And if they do have a court order, they by now should have notified the lender, or if your client is a lender, and I think in that case, but don't accept the excuse at all. Make the payment arrangement. Be confident about it. If someone is not honest, they won't be able to answer these answers. So all the best for all of you in dealing with this complex matter. Please feel free to comment, to read through the learning material, and when you're ready, all the best with doing the course. We know you're going to do well in that, and most importantly, keep on grinding, sharpening that axe so that you can be more and more effective in what you do. All the best. Again, my name is CraigANel.